I'm really delighted to have this opportunity to meet and speak with Gabrielle Kali Om. Gabrielle, thank you so much for joining me today. How are you doing?
I'm doing so good. Thank you so much for having me. It's such a really great honor to be here with you today. I appreciate you asking.
Oh, thank you. I know some of you are listening and you cannot visually see, but I think that those of you listening at some point go to our YouTube channel, Native Yoga Center, so you can see Gabrielle's the room that she's in. It's absolutely beautiful. It's like a really nice floor. I see like beautiful wood paneling, wood beams, big bright glass window with a deck out the front, fans. It looks sunny. There's like tons of natural light. Can you tell me where you are?
Yes, I am in the studio at Ojas Retreat Center, a retreat center in Southern California. And it is a gigantic space, so you're right. And there's a ton of windows, and all the windows actually open up to the outside like accordion. So it can be an indoor outdoor space. And it's made of redwood. And uh, yeah, it's where all the events happen here at the retreat center.
Wow. Can you tell me a little bit? First, I'll ask a little about the retreat center and then start asking more about like your background. But where exactly is Ojas?
Yeah, it is officially in Santa Rosa Plateau Ecological Reserve. So this is in Southern California. The address is in Murrieta, California, which is in the same area as Temecula, which many people have heard because of the many wine vineyards that are here. It's the vineyard region of Southern California.
Yeah, it is beautiful there. I have been to Temecula, so that's so cool. That's such a sweet area. Is and how did you build this retreat center, or is this one that was already existing that you acquired or took over?
Yeah, I did not build the major structures here. The structures were in existence, and when we got the property, there was a tremendous amount of refurbishing to do, but most of the structures were here. We have since built a couple outbuildings and a pool and a lot of outdoor meditation spaces and hiking trails, but the structure was here.
Wow. That sounds amazing. How did this vision come to reality? Did you I would imagine a lot of yoga teachers, myself included, would think, what a dream come true to be able to have a retreat center and work on that capacity. Can you give me a little bit of understanding of how this came to be?
Yeah, it definitely is a dream come true. It came about from a visualization and meditation with my teacher, Sri Dharma Mittra, who I've been training with for many years, back since about 15 years or so, been with Sri Dharma. And it wasn't something that I sort of invented with my own mind or my desires, if that makes sense. It was out of, if you've ever, I don't know if you've ever done the class with Sri Dharma Mittra, he teaches psychic development. Have you ever done that?
I've
Psychic
taken a class with
development.
them, but I have not taken a psychic development class. I saw that it's on the schedule at the Dharma Yoga Center in New York City. And so I'm super curious about what that actually entails.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not, I shouldn't be the one to say, but I can tell you that back when I started training with Dharma, psychic development was part of the weekly schedule. You could just go into the class and take the class. And I remember the very first time I took this class, and there's many practices to psychic development techniques, and he'll even say it's not so you can become psychic and so you can read someone's mind, but it's actually so you can have access to your own intuition. And you can also build up some type of a strength in your aura so you're not absorbing the energy of other people, right?
Yeah.
So anyway, there's a series of concentration and breathing techniques that lead up to the end where there's a visualization meditation. And the way it was introduced, as I recall, Sri Dharma said, now you're going to sit here and visualize something that you want to create. And I had no idea, I couldn't think of anything. So I somehow imagined myself as a very peaceful person. I imagined that I was, whatever I thought that to be at that time, I just imagined that I had no concerns, no stress. I was just this peaceful person. And I went like that for a while. And then one day in psychic development, here we go again with the visualization. And all of a sudden, like an awareness, it came to me that I would have a retreat center. And I thought, I was kind of excited, because I didn't think it with my mind. Usually we think that we want something and we try to get it, right? We take the steps to get it, but it wasn't like that. It was like this, I don't know if you've ever had this kind of like obvious awareness situation happen, or like a realization that comes to you. It's just sort of undeniable.
Yeah.
And it was, that I would have this retreat center. So every meditation since then was, Dharma says in the meditation, he gives an example, same example for as long as I've known him. And if you can imagine back when, and I'm sure the example became before my time, but at the time, his example was about creating this, let's say you want a yoga studio and you imagine everything is taking place exactly perfectly. There's a line of people out the door. There's the news channel, everyone ready to pour. You have a vegan cafe at the bottom, and everyone's ordering from a screen. You don't have to talk to anyone. And he's saying this, this is 15 years ago, right?
Ah, yeah.
Everyone's ordering from, and the floor is clear and you can see the people doing yoga, right? And he's got this whole picture going, he's sharing it with everyone. And anyway, it was his example to, it's not just visualizing one piece, but every piece. And his point was, more subtle, get more subtle, more subtle, and he would often say, don't do anything unless you can visualize it.
Mm.
Don't make a move until you can see it happening.
Mm.
And I found great, I find great value in that.
Wow. That's cool, Gabrielle. Wow. And so you're in New York City and you're having this sort of very gradual connection to your idea, your feeling. So then what? You fly to California and just start driving around, or or somebody says,
Let's see,
"Oh my
Todd,
gosh,
how long is this podcast? Because
well, we can make it as long as we want. We can make it as long as we want."
I'll do my best. I'll do
All right.
my best.
All right.
It was a solid decade
All right.
before.
I hear you. So it was a decade from the time that you had this sort of inkling to where you then were like, oh my goodness, I own this retreat center.
Yeah, it was, but it never left me. Never for one moment did I doubt that that's what was going to happen. And so in very small ways, the first thing I realized is two things. One, I had never even been on a retreat myself.
Yeah.
And the second thing is, I definitely never led a retreat, right? So I thought the thing I immediately realized was I better start leading retreats, right? Then there's no other way for me to find out what I'm supposed to do.
Yeah.
And
Good
I
point.
felt very connected, and still do, and this is why I have a retreat center. I feel very connected to the benefit of retreats
Yes.
in people. I've seen amazing transformations in people through retreats, and it's always so emotional, and it's such a gift and an honor to be a part of. So I started leading retreats internationally, at least, twice a year, let's say, all over the place. And I loved it. I loved doing it. I loved the people that came. It was like a family, and everybody was, we went to Greece and Spain and Bali and Costa Rica and the Grand Canyon and the Caribbean islands, and we were all over the place. And I learned so much from those experiences in what it from the perspective of me, the facilitator, and from the perspective of this, retreat facility, what is needed to have the best outcome, right? What's needed on the ground to create the best circumstance so you can have the most optimal experience.
Mm. Did you start to, in that process, think to yourself, like, wow, I need to have I mean, obviously you had this thought, but I know what you mean, because I have offered retreat and we've traveled to other places, and and there's some things that are like, wow, you're like, that was so great. The way they did this, the way this came, the way this was organized, the way this food was prepared, the way this bungalow looked, the proximity of it to this and that. But then maybe I'm thinking you started to think, I want to have like a place that I can kind of control a little bit more of that and develop it in a way based off of everything that you were able to learn in the process. What are you noticing now that you have a retreat center? What are some of the things that you've tweaked based off of your knowledge of learning to accommodate that?
Well, it wasn't tweaking, it was really setting it up from the beginning, because I had such a clear vision
Yeah.
of what it was going to take. And the the piece that I didn't have experience with necessarily was, I'm on the other end of it now. I'm not just a facilitator, bringing in this group of students or clients. I'm the one working with the facilitators, because
Mm.
they're doing what I was doing. So I very clearly understand their intention and their offering, and that is a tremendous help.
Yeah.
Uh, and
I agree.
oftentimes it's nice that facilitators recognize that. Oftentimes they're like, wow, this is amazing that you obviously know what it takes and what to do. It's nice to work with somebody who has experience and, leading retreats. But I would say flow. Flow is something that is really important in a retreat, is how to create such a space that the people in attendance do not have to think about anything.
Mm.
And this is an intention. It takes some awareness to cultivate this, from where do you put your dirty dish when you finish using it? Where do you put your trash? Where do you get a towel to go to the pool? It seems very simple. Where do you get a drink of water or tea, or, at any point in the day? How can we make this experience so there's no question what a person, if they want something, if they need something, where they go to get it. And
Wow.
in this way, I believe that if we succeed, even hopefully close to getting there, then it means that that person's nervous system is able to completely relax, and they don't have to wonder where to get this thing, where they're going to sleep, is where do they get toilet paper if they need toilet paper. What do they do? You know, all of these things. Where do they, if they're too cold, where can they get a blanket? If you, do you understand? So
Yeah.
it,
Yeah.
it's a lot of, at first when we opened, it was, I remember feeling frustrated because I was watching everyone sort of stumble around this. And even though I thought that I had thought of many things, there were many more things to think about. I was watching all this happen, how people, what they were doing. They try to fill up their water bottle. Where do they put their trash and their dish? And how can they get a snack, right? Like where are the snacks? You
Yeah.
know?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I, just from noticing what everyone was doing and actually becoming frustrated, seeing the lack of uh, symmetry or flow, I then was very quick, along with my chef to make changes. Let's do this. Let's set this up. Let's have, you know, this tea station, this drink station, this dish station. And it seems like nothing, you know? It doesn't seem important until you're in the space. And what I've come to believe is true, I think for myself too, is being clear, whether that's clear in your language or clear in your intention, is one way of showing kindness and compassion
Mm.
for people.
Yeah.
And if you leave it up to them or they have to guess or they don't know, then they can't really do what they came here to do, you know, whatever that is.
You know, it sounds like you're taking it to the level of like whenever I've had the wonderful opportunity of going to a very high-end hotel or resort where you're just like, you get that feeling where like, oh my gosh, this is so amazing. You're kind of bringing that like fine five-star approach to the experience, which is really cool. You're right. I've never thought of that. I've only just thought of it from the side of like, how do I organize a retreat? How do I actually make sure I get enough people to sign up? And how do I, hopefully everybody travels okay. And if there's like a airplane connection that doesn't connect, like how much do I get involved to try to help them to figure it out versus letting them kind of figure it all out? And it sounds like you've gone like full head on the level of like, let me actually help them do everything, but even to the next level beyond that. Like, let me think ahead of time before that, which is so cool. It's so interesting to hear about all that. I can't
Yeah,
imagine.
well,
Yeah.
you know, you're exactly right. Everything that you pointed out, I know, I know so well from being on that end, and that's a facilitator's job. That's the job. It's not your job. Once you get here, then it becomes the facilitator's job to lead the retreat, and that's my ideal hope for them as well. It's not really we're in service also to this person that is going to be expending the most energy, right? The person offering the program, facilitating the retreat. And if they have to think about all these things when they're here, they're not also going to be in the best space to offer what they came to offer, because as you pointed out, we know that the initial part of leading retreats, it feels a little bit more like you're a travel agent, right? And you're the one planning these taxis and answering questions about currency, and suddenly you have to know everything about every country that you go to, and it's a lot, right? It's a lot of organization, but the idea is once you get here, you know, it's a deep exhale, hopefully on everyone's part, and you can just absorb and integrate into the space.
What have you found, Gabrielle, in relation? I just remember we were leading a retreat to Costa Rica. So excited. We had a big group. It was amazing. We were all amped. And I remember the night before, I was laying in bed and I had this like intense, like, oh my gosh, I'm taking a large group of Americans to a country where what if like we get kidnapped? Or what if like we're held ransom? Or I don't know. I just had that like panic of like, I am like responsible for all these people. Now you're in California. I'm curious, was that a conscious decision on your behalf to do one in the US? Because I would imagine personally holding a retreat as a American in America, I feel like I wouldn't have all of that trepidation. What have you noticed in relation to having a retreat center in the States? And you're obviously from, I read that you're from Baltimore, from Maryland. What have you noticed the juxtaposition between international versus in the country?
Is Thank you for asking. It's a great question, and I love the place that you're asking it from someone who knows. I don't think everyone would have thought of that question. Uh, and the two of us could probably talk for so long on this, and I have some funny stories too about the countries that I chose to go with people because of this type of thing. And looking up on the CDC website, what degree of do not travel are
It
we going to
sounds
go?
like it sounds like such a good idea. And then you realize, what have I got myself into? This is like intense, man. This is more than
Right?
just and obviously you're a very caring individual. Clearly from everything you've said, you care. So I would love to hear just some of
Yeah,
some of like the vibe of being in California. Like I want to come now. I'm like, dude, I want to hold a retreat at your place because number one, coming to California, how easy would that be, right? To just land in San Diego or LA and drive to Temecula. Like that's a no-brainer. And
right.
then, but I'm just curious, like energetically, what have you observed since you've been, actually, let me back up. How long have you had this retreat center?
Yeah, okay. So I've had the retreat center for about 3.5 years. We've been open for about 3 years.
Cool.
And, COVID is what really brought me to Southern California. And right during COVID, during the outbreak of COVID, I was leading two back to back retreats in Bali. And I was in Bali.
Oh, what, like in
And
March of 2020 or so?
yeah,
March.
yes,
Oh,
with
oh,
about 24 people.
dude, that,
A couple people
oh,
from Canada, but most from the United States.
that's stressful.
And somehow everybody got back with ease. It was a miracle. And
Okay.
we were in Bali and we didn't know how intense everything was. And when I got back, I went to my yoga class like normal, like the next day to teach a class. And I went to hug people and everyone's, whoa, nobody,
You're like,
no
what are
one
you
wanted to
doing?
hug me. Not that I hadn't heard what was going on, but I didn't know, had been there for over 5 weeks. And so it was a really big changing period. And then within 1 week of getting back, less than 1 week, everything shut down, everything. The studios, as you know, right? And here I'm a person that was only teaching yoga classes, yoga retreats, yoga workshops. I have my own yoga teacher training program, and it all stopped. And but for me, I think probably because I had just returned from Bali and I was in this retreat mode, and by that time I was already very much looking for a retreat center. And I was pretty sure by that point that it was going to be in Puerto Rico because
Mm,
I
mm.
love Puerto Rico. I'm a sailor. I used to sail around the islands, and I for sure thought my retreat center was going to be on an island. And in answer to your earlier question, after many reflections and due diligence and studies, I realized that it would probably be smartest if I had the retreat center on a US owned island. So then I narrowed the selection down to US islands. So that means the Virgin Islands, Puerto Rico, even Hawaii, I was considering. And anyway, COVID, we couldn't travel to any of those places. You could only travel in the continental United States. and I had never even considered the continental United States as my retreat location. But I also, as I had nothing else to do, all my jobs closed. So I thought, well, this is just going to be more information, like more study, right? So I got on the airplane. I flew to Southern California because it was Southern California would be the only place in the U.S. I would consider, because for me, it had to do with the weather. I wanted it to be a year-round retreat location. That was really important. I wanted to be around a place that had access to growing food. Here where I am, there's a Mediterranean climate here, the only Mediterranean climate in the United States, and there's a lot of avocado farms and citrus farms here, pomegranate farms. So, and of course, it's the United States, so we have access to anything, also any other types of fruits and vegetables we need. So that was very important to me. Proximity, as you mentioned, to airports and just generally getting here was a factor. And the sort of realization that I had to reconcile with in my mind is when I got here, it wasn't immediate that I found this particular place or looking at many areas and places. I thought, wow, this is not what I thought. You know, you have to understand, I was visualizing this for 10 years and I thought I was going to be on an island. And now I'm in this climate and these rolling hills and this beautiful space in Southern California. And I thought, well, this might not be Bali, this might not be this, bucket list place that I envisioned, but actually is better than that. And I'm really grateful for that awareness, because what it helped me realize that was actually so important to me is not that I have a place where people will come once in their lifetime, but a place that people can come to all the time. A place that people can find refuge and peace and come back to recharge. I consider that, for me, I go to New York, right, to study with Dharma. And I want this to be a place where people can come, they walk in the door, they drop into this peaceful space, everything is taken care of, and they can let go and
Yeah.
and do what they need to do. And that felt so much better to me than having this, trying to create an experience that was only going to happen for people, fortunate people that could afford, or people that could make the time. So I'm really grateful for that awareness, because it was not in my original
Yeah.
mind, my thought process.
Well, that's cool. I mean, for sure. My wife and I used to live in San Diego, and we would drive up to Temecula because we had friends that couldn't really, San Diego is very expensive, and Temecula, I'm sure Temecula is crazy expensive now too, but it was like that's where people could go to actually, still be in the San Diego lifestyle with like the incredible weather like you're talking about. And the other thing that's cool about Temecula is there's no like June gloom, right? Like, because if you're down on the
Yeah,
coast,
exactly.
you can get socked in June with this fog, and you're like, oh, like, is it winter? Like, what's going on? So, but up there, it's pretty much blue sky all the time. Would you say? Like, I'm sure you guys get rain, but it's got to be, like you said, an amazing climate.
I love the climate. I absolutely, it is, it's spectacular. I mean,
Yeah.
it's like Greece, like being in Greece. It's not that it doesn't change. It's very much characterized by what they call a green season, or a period of time that it can rain. It's not a rainy season, because that's like an island rainy season where it rains every day. Here, it's about starting right now until about the end of April, where rain can come and things turn green, and there's the wildflowers, and it really feeds all of the plants here. We have, over the plateau here protects over 200 plant an animal species. We have 3 different kinds of sages on our property that grow naturally, all kinds of herbs and all kinds of native plants that were used by the indigenous people for over 8,000 years. This place has human history too. So it is such a rich density of these plants and herbs, and it's really neat to be a part of the ecosystem here and a part of this type of nature where there is a season. It might be more subtle if you don't live in it. You might not realize it, but it is cooler. We're at an elevation. There's not much humidity. But it is, most of the time, the sky is blue, the sun is warm, and yeah, it's incredibly nice to be here.
That's so cool. I was talking with somebody else that was attempting to develop a retreat center in, oh, what state was it? Was it Wyoming or Montana? It doesn't matter. And I guess he didn't check with the neighbors about that he was going to do it. And he started to set it up. And then there was a bunch of pushback from the locals because they're like, too much traffic, too much this, too much that. And he was like, oh my gosh, I didn't do that kind of homework to figure out. It sounds like your center was kind of already established, but can you tell me a little bit about what it's been like working with the local community in relation to maintaining the peace, if you are?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, we have our property is over 5 acres, which is not very big in comparison to the other properties around here where we are, like I said, there's growing farms here. People are growing grapes for wine or avocados or citrus fruits. The other thing that they do is raise horses. There's a lot of horses here, a lot of farms. And so anyway, things are not so close, right, to each other.
Okay.
And the other thing is, yeah, you have to know those things are incredibly important. I was very aware of all of these things.
Yeah.
And I made sure that we had the property had the right zoning before. Of course, you can't buy a property in a HOA, right, a homeowners association. You
Yeah.
can't have a
Yeah.
retreat center where there's you have to follow the rules
Yeah. Yes.
because also you want to follow the rules, right? You come with this pure intention, and it's good to operate in a space of honesty and in a space of where you're allowed, where you're permitted, as they say. All the time people ask me, for example, can I have a wedding at your place? And the answer is no. The answer is no. I could have a wedding at this place, right? But in order to have a wedding, you need a permit. It's a separate
Yeah.
permit.
Yeah.
And so that's the kind of thing that you have to know about is that, and I've learned so much about codes, permits, way more than I ever thought that I would, even residentially. Here in the United States, we think we own a house, we can do whatever we want. But it turns out, actually, if you read the county code of wherever you are, you cannot do as much as you think,
Yeah.
right?
I think, oh,
And
I'll just hold this yoga class at my house and I'll have like 5 cars pull out the front and park. And oh no, like one neighbor calls on you and you're like, no, you can't operate a business in a residential area.
right. And so, yeah, we do have people up the hill from down the hill and up the hill, and that's how they refer to this area as the hill. So, yeah, and they know, I know them, and I make sure they know what we're doing here. And
Yeah.
there is a ordinance in this area. It's a quiet ordinance after 10 p.m. all the way until 7 a.m. There's no outdoor noise
Nice.
that you can have. And I love that. My
Yeah.
own retreats have a period of silence from 10 to 10, 10 p.m. to 10 a.m. So it very much goes with the intention anyway of the space. So we have had knock on wood, we have had no problems with
Yeah,
anyone.
amazing. If we switch gears just a little bit, Gabrielle, I'm curious just to hear a little bit about your own experience in your yoga journey in relation to how are you how are you feeling about your yoga practice these days? Because you started in 2000, maybe earlier than that, but it sounds formally in 2000. So you've had like a good 24 years of consistent practice with multiple disciplines. What are you getting most inspired by currently in your own practice?
Uh, Most inspired by.
Or what is a and like you wake up, do you have a ritual or a specific go to way to connect to yourself through yoga? Do you have like a routine where you like wake up and you like to have a cup of tea and then do some pranayama and or some chanting, or are you gravitating really intensely still or still gravitating toward the asana aspect, or have you dropped away from the asana a little bit and more into philosophy? Is there
Yeah,
some aspect of the yoga practice that is like what's really just making you just feel like, oh, I love yoga?
yeah. I mean, it would take someone like you to ask that question, right? Because I imagine, I don't know you, but I imagine, you have a yoga studio, right? In Florida, and you have this podcast, and, I'm sure I'm not that different than you in the sense that my practice has evolved and changed a tremendous amount over these years. And I will say that, yes, I do have a morning practice, which is incredibly valuable and important for me to get up. I do some little bit of stretching, pranayama, meditation, and then I am off into the day.
Yeah.
That is non my asana practice, right? Just do a little warm up, a little, get the blood. I think Dharma always said, just do a little bit every day. Just do a little bit. Because oftentimes we think, if I have to spend an hour, 2 hours on this asana, but we change, our lives change. And for me, my practice has much more change into a moment by moment, everyday event where, how to incorporate everything I've learned with everything that I'm doing and all that I'm managing. It is more challenging than anything I have ever endeavored to do in my life. And there is no chance I would be fit for this calling, for this job, had I not had all those years of dedicated practice. And so I'm okay. I'm okay. I can't do some poses that I used to be able to do. I lost some poses, but I don't mind because I feel very grounded in my purpose here. And if that makes me, I cannot do, a pose anymore, then what I'm doing is much more valuable than that. And if I think when I maintain my intention and my actions are directed towards the purpose that I have, then there's I don't even feel any sadness about it. I don't feel I'm not concerned at all that these things it's just part of it. And it's not that I can't do the pose anymore because I'm sitting watching Netflix, you see, like right, I'm doing this amazing, trying to fulfill this dream or this intention that I've
Yes.
had.
Yes.
And while of course it's so important, I cannot let everything go because you need to maintain your physical well-being, your emotional well-being, which involves exercising, but it doesn't matter, right? I often go to practices in the community. I go to yoga studios because I think it's incredibly important to support the studios in the area. I have so much gratitude for a yoga studio in a community. I, for some reason, I don't know why it never came to me that I wanted to open a yoga studio. Instead, I have this retreat center, but I always try to support the people I know in the area, support the yoga studio. And so I just go to a class. I can do yoga on my own, but I go to a yoga class and then I integrate with different practices that maybe are not what weren't in my everyday practice. And it's nice. It's nice. Yeah. How about you? You must have something to say.
Oh my gosh, great answer, Gabrielle. Well, if I can be so bold as to potentially read between the lines of what you just said and what why I agree with you 100% and what I feel like I heard from you just now is I'm working really, really hard. This takes a lot of work. Would I love to just dedicate 2 to 3 hours to yoga every day? Oh yeah, that'd be amazing. I have a dream. I had a dream of owning a studio. And then the pressures of actually maintaining it as a business and a financially viable operation so that people can enjoy yoga. I've had to put that time that I would just dedicate to yoga to the service of the community. And I agree with you. I think you get to this point where you go, I'm okay. It's okay. Like, but I have gone through turmoil phases over it. Like, yeah, but now I don't have time to do all the things I want to do in relation to my own personal development. But now that I can actually see that my personal development is service, then everything is a yoga practice. So I agree with you 100%. And I see, but I can also hear like you are working. Like you have a lot to do. And I get that. And I appreciate that. And I like the fact that you said that you're going and supporting local studios and how much that is important to the community. I would go out on a limb and say your space is a yoga studio, but I understand what you're saying in relation to the difference of a retreat center where a full week is committed or people are committing to a full week to coming in and the dedication that you're putting into it. So personally, I see what you're doing as yoga practice and if not just as valuable or the same sort of transactionary experience occurs through seeing like I also got the feeling that you could see like when you said flow and the importance of flow, like how do you even see flow? Like you can't like make a picture book about the flow, right? But you can feel it and you know it exists. And so it's so cool that you've tapped into that and you're as dedicated as you are to like really getting involved in that. That's so cool. So yes, that would be my answer too, is that yeah, I've had to put some of my own personal things on hold. But to be really honest, like I love podcasting. This is one of my most favorite things to do in the whole world. And so it's taken a lot of a time and attention to put on it, which does kind of take from like right now I could maybe do some pranayama or some mantra, or I could have like take personal time for myself, but like I feel like this is my yoga practice too. So I don't really see a difference anymore. So I'm with you. I don't struggle so much over that. If did I get some of that right?
Oh, absolutely.
Okay, cool.
Absolutely. I mean, it's important, I have a teacher, Sri Dharma, and in fact, this morning I was online with him. He still teaches online. He has, and it's great because here in California, because he's in New York, right? The pranayama class on Tuesdays, 7:30 in the morning,
Nice.
so I'm up before that doing my own little practice, and then I get to be with him. So I really make an effort to show up because I think it's important to stay connected. It's important to stay grounded. It's important to have a community and somewhere to, for myself even, where I can recharge And I know the practice is important because when I first was here at Ojas, I really let my physical asana practice slip a lot. And it was really difficult because we didn't have, in the beginning here, it was wild. There were contractors here for 12 hours a day. I was sleeping on the floor. I didn't even have a table. There was no chair. I had my computer on the floor. I was sleeping on the ground. And the contractors would show up 6:45 a.m. and I'm just, okay, everybody on board, right? And then here, and I started to, and not long after that, I don't know if you've had any of this experience, I, because of stress, I started to feel physical stress in my body, which I don't know that I've ever felt in my life. You know, people refer to stress and you think of stress in your mind or stressed, I have so many things to do, but I actually felt it running through my body like cortisol running through my, I was thinking, wow, this is unbelievable. And instead of like, worrying too much about it, I was like, wow, this is really wild,
Mm,
this feeling of stress.
yeah.
And then it started to sort of house itself in spaces in the body, right? So I could feel it building up my shoulders and then on my neck. It was just more tense, like physically tense. And I thought, okay, this is not good, this wasn't the point, so I have to change something.
Yeah.
And of course, with the knowledge of the yoga poses and all of that, I put more intention into the physical practices I was doing to move that stress out of my body. And it worked. It didn't take very long. And so now I'm really aware of staying on top, we'll say, or so to speak, but, keeping the stress, at a level where it doesn't affect, my physical body with pain.
Oh man. Whoa, Gabrielle. Whoa. Can I bring something up?
Yeah.
Cool. Today is, what's the date today? It's November 13th.
Well,
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 thank you. And you practice Ashtanga yoga a little bit?
I had in the past, yeah.
Did you hear the news about what happened?
No,
So on Monday, so today is, what is today?
Tuesday.
Tuesday the 12th. So yesterday, the 11th, Sharat Joyce passed away at age
Oh, I didn't
53.
hear that.
Yeah. And he's here in the States right now. And I just feel so bad for his wife and his kids and his
Oh,
family. I feel so bad for him, for his family. And he was here, he was teaching in Miami for the last 2 weeks. And a lot of our students here went down and practiced with him. And then he went up to Virginia this week to teach at the University of UVA, or he's at UVA. And he went for a hike and he had a heart attack. And I came in this morning and I didn't know. I mean, when I got in this morning, I got text messages from people and I was like, whoa, because he's only like, I'm about the same. We're the same. We're very close in age. I'm 51. And I just had that moment of like, oh, whoa, like, oh my gosh, it can happen at any moment. And I know that, and we know that. I mean, obviously, we know that, but it just hit me today. And so, as you were talking about stress just now and the importance, and believe me, I mean, I'm not trying to imply that I feel like we have control, and at the same time, I don't feel like I have control over my mortality, right? Like I know I'm gonna go at some point, obviously, right? We all know we're gonna go, but it just, I don't know, it's hit me a little bit. So I apologize for bringing up like a heaviness. I mean, I honestly think it's heaviness. I mean, I feel like when it's our time to go and we get to journey, amazing, right? Like it's going to be an incredible journey when we get to go, when we get to move along. But I just, I've been wearing that all day. So I had to just mention it too. I just wanted to see if you had heard and if that
yeah,
impacted.
I hadn't. Thank you for sharing that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I feel that's a really heavy. heavy blow for his
I
family, the community.
I
The,
know, right? I know. I know. I think it's a big one for sure. It's tough losing like these folks that we've learned so much from over the years, and then at some point just being able to say goodbye. So I guess if anything, because I know people listening, this podcast will come out, in a few weeks. So I'm sure the news will have already traveled to everyone's ears. But I guess if I could just say a little prayer for his wife and his kids, just
yeah,
I hope they're okay, and I hope that they can get through this really difficult time and and uh find some solace. But on that note, have you had any relatives or anyone close to you lately? Have you gone through any of that, like grieving or grieving any loved ones?
yeah. Uh, my mother passed away,
Oh
and
man, I'm so sorry.
uh,
When was it?
it was about 6 years ago,
Okay.
like yesterday. But
Like yesterday. I know my mom 2 years ago too, and that was the
I'm
hardest
so
one.
sorry. It's
Okay.
very difficult, especially at too young of an age. Um,
Yeah.
before anybody is
Yeah.
ready for it.
Yeah.
Uh,
Did
and
that play a little part in your dream, your vision in your dream? You know what I mean? Like when mom passes, it's like,
yeah,
yeah.
yeah. I of course think about her all the time, and she's definitely with me in the beginning here. I had this vision and dream before she passed, and when I came out here to California with Ojas, she was already had already passed for a few years, and I was talking to her all the time because my mom she is incredibly organized and very creative and so helpful. If you wanted some also incredibly clean. So if you wanted something to be clean, I need a
Get the
lot
toothbrush
of
out. She get the toothbrush out. I'm like,
thank you,
you.
Mom. Where are you? She's so good at designing things, laying out furniture and things like this. And yeah, so yeah, she's definitely a part of in my thoughts and in my heart
Oh, that's awesome.
regularly.
One thought I had today is like we're coming and going, but the yoga actually sticks around. Isn't that amazing how we're learning it from our teachers and then our teachers pass and and then we're holding it and then we're going to let go and someone else is going to hold it. That really just hit me hard today of like how and then just the thought that how long has yoga been going? Like you made mention of the human tie to the area where you are going back 8,000 years, right? And then so like when you and I find out about yoga, we hear like 5,000 years ago and we think, well, I mean, first of all, we can't comprehend it in relation to history and the span of humanity on the planet and we don't really understand and know exactly, right? But um I think how cool that yoga sticks around like this. It makes me feel like so much feeling of like how much work we have to do to kind of hold it up to a high level. And I know you've gotten a chance to practice with Dharma, and I feel like Dharma does a really good job. He's done an amazing job of bringing yoga up to a very high level or just like really taking it to a place of like let's really keep this going. Can you talk a little bit about your feeling of respect for the tradition of yoga?
Yeah, absolutely. Uh, I consider it such a blessing that I was able to come across Sri Dharma and practice with him, and then become one of the mentors on staff there, the teacher training. So spend many years very close to him, and I've learned such a tremendous amount from him. But I consider personally, and what I try to share with others that are coming into the practice as teachers is that my feeling is that it's a great responsibility. It's a privilege to be able to teach others anything, right? If you're in a position of a teacher leading someone to something, that is a privilege. And with privilege is a tremendous responsibility to, as with as much intention and purity of heart, grace, surrender, you do your best, right? But it's
Agreed. Agreed.
all because of you want to share, right? So we're just trying to share the knowledge that was passed to me, that as I understand it, right? It's not that I'm right. It's just we try to share what we know based on our own understanding, and do your best. But to me, it's never eluded me, the sense of responsibility that that carries.
Great answer, Gabrielle. Good point. I know it's amazing, isn't it? Uh, that's cool. Is there anything that I feel like well, actually, I'd like to thank Pam and Andrew Jones for introducing me to. So thank you, Pam and Andrew. I
Okay,
much
yeah.
appreciate it. I know they held a retreat out there recently, so I was unaware. Hadn't done my research or I wasn't following you yet, and then I saw the pictures from the retreat, and I was like, oh my gosh, that looks amazing. Like, where are
Yeah, we're
you?
having another one in June next year, June 2025, a Dharma Yoga Retreat, also with Pam and Andrew and me also as facilitating the retreat collectively with other Dharma Yoga teachers. So it's a really amazing experience to come together as a community and practice.
Oh my gosh, Gabrielle, that's so cool because well, so if you're listening, you are listening, obviously it's not if. You're listening. You're listening, so you got to go check out your website, Gabrielle, at the retreat center is ojasretreatcenter.com, and the Instagram handle is Ojas Retreat Center. You also have a personal website which is yoginikali.com, and your Instagram handle is yogini_kali. So please go follow and listen, or send a message and let Gabrielle know what you're thinking, and you can see the schedule of all of the retreats that you're holding. Obviously, you have all that on your website, and I just really am thankful for this opportunity, Gabrielle. It's really been a pleasure and a treat, and it's so cool to meet somebody that I like hearing the inception, like the visualization, and then like it's inspiring to me to hear your journey that you followed through, that you started with a meditation and you could see it, and that you've actually gotten to this point. So I can't wait to keep following you and see what where this takes you, and the community of people that come through. So kudos to you for not giving up and pursuing your dreams. That's really amazing.
Yeah, thank you so much. As you know, it's not easy. Uh, the pursuit, you have to be a dreamer to live your dreams, right? I think it's not an easy path. It's not an easy path. It requires a lot of fortitude, many failures and challenges, a lot of self-reflection, and but there's nothing else from my perspective. There's no other way. There's nothing else to do.
Oh man, I hear you, Gabrielle. Well, I can't wait to meet you in person, and my wife is from California. Her family's out there, so the next time we're out, I will definitely come check out your center.
Please, yeah, you're always welcome. Please come anytime. Yeah, I would love to have you.
Thank you
You
so
can do a
much.
podcast from here.
Oh man, I'll take you up on that. We'll set up like I thought it'd be cool to one thing I've always hoped for, or one of my dreams with doing the podcast, is to go to events and interview. So while the event is happening, interview the people during the event, and then put together like a whole kind of like series just on that. So
Yeah, like it's a little like a reality show, like a like a little docu
or
series.
I
A better
guess if you put
term
it,
now, they call it a
yeah,
docu series,
a
right?
docu-series, that sounds better. Something about reality TV makes me think like I'm
Reality.
gonna like sell out some cheesy like brought to you by, no, I'm kidding. But
No, I
you're right,
love
a
that you said
docu-series,
that.
a
I really would love,
docu-series.
I would love for you to do that because, I've had this vision for many years, to be honest. And I don't think I've not told very many people this, but I used to have my own teacher training program and lead teacher trainings and course at Dharmas. And I always had a very similar idea to the one you just expressed, where
Yeah.
I would love to have a camera, where you can see, the transformation, what's going
Right.
on with people, know what they're thinking in their mind. I know when I went through my own experience in teacher training, I went from one place to a completely different place at the end, and I've always thought that would be such a neat idea. So I'm
Oh my gosh,
totally
Gabrielle.
for that. You're welcome. You're
How
welcome.
funny. How funny. I know. So now you have the retreat center and I have a microphone. So I think we have everything we need already. Now it just takes the vision and the
Yeah.
dream. Oh, cool. All right. Well, it's on then. I'll do a little bit of meditation tonight and start trying to bring it into a little bit more clarity.
Yeah, we can do it in June for sure. For
Oh,
sure.
cool. All right. I'm there. I'm with you.
That would be amazing.
Thank you, Gabrielle. It's a treat. Thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you so much for asking me and thank you so much for chatting and it's been so nice to get to know you.
Same as well. Namaste.
Namaste.